There's been a little trash talking already going on between those two, but our guys are excited. They're fired up. I told them, last year I probably don't schedule this game, to be honest with you. First year, first time head coach at Jenks, and a lot of offensive staff turnover, new starting quarterback, a lot of question marks. Eight new starters on defense. I schedule this game. To be quite honest with you, would be a positive thing and a great test for us early to kind of see where we're at.
Streaming from Oklahoma's own digital studio, this is High School Football Update.
Who originally even reached out for this game to be scheduled?
Well, it goes back to so when every 2 years the Oklahoma high schools redistrict based on enrollment size, and so when we did our redistricting meeting in January, we lost all of our non-district games. So Santa Fe, Owasso, and Union all fell in our district. And so then the fun stuff, you get to go find non-district games. And so Coach Montgomery Lauren and I had already said that going into it, if we weren't in the same district, we wanted to make sure we played non-district to make sure the Trojans and the Spartans continue that rivalry. And so then it was find 2 games. Well, I had a hard time finding a game at the meeting. Ended up getting connected with Rogers, Arkansas. So they had their open date fit with ours, and so we've got them week 1, the second game, and so then got connected with Conway, Arkansas, and looked like that may be something that would happen. And they needed a home game. Well, we needed a home game because our other 2 non-district games were on the road. And so that one didn't work out. So Coach Webb, Coach Chronister, who just came from Texas, were like, hey, when the realignment happens with 5A and 6A in Texas, there's going to be some teams that need games. So I had reached out to a couple of guys and ended up getting Coach Munn's email, and I emailed him, and he's like, well, we've got a game with, I think it's called Orange Lutheran in California. And he said, but it's not 100%, so just, he goes, we'll know more by next week. And so day of realignment, the morning of realignment, I reached out to him. He said they were playing the game. I said, hey, Coach, no worries. He said, hey, if you guys get a 1-year deal, come back to me, and let's figure out something, next year. And I'm like, yeah, absolutely, would love to. So probably 4 hours later, I get a phone call, and it's Coach Munn. And so he's like, hey, Orange Lutheran's head coach got fired, and so we're not going to play that game. Are you guys still interested? And I said, heck yes, let's go. Yeah, let's get this done. So was originally going to be home and home. They come up here first year, we go down there, and then they had some connections with people with some say, I guess you could say, some money, I guess you could say. And talked about having a neutral site, like Norman was talked about, Cotton Bowl obviously, and he asked if we would give up a home game at our place to be able to go play at Norman or a Cotton Bowl, and I said yeah, absolutely, be great experience for our kids, and so kind of went on, and then just it was last week I think the deal got done, and was our got to tell our kids, and they were, first of all, if they were playing Southlake Carroll, they were really excited about that opportunity, and then tell them that we're going to go play in the Cotton Bowl, get to walk down the ramp and all that, and they were pretty jacked up. So everybody's really excited, and looking forward to that.
So it'll be the Cotton Bowl both years. It's a 2-year.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Both years. We'll be the home team this year, and then they'll be the home team in 27.
Okay. So have you been able to look very much at the way that, that's a powerhouse Texas program going up against an Oklahoma powerhouse. But the size difference between the two is crazy. I've seen Southlake in person a couple years ago. We're so early on, but what type of test does that prove for your team that likes to run the ball?
Yeah, they really good on defense, really good on offense. We've got some film on them already, so we've kind of been taking a peek. I know that it's not it. They've got a few guys back on offense. I think they lose quite a few of their defensive guys from last year's team. so they'll look quite a bit different. But just to
They're
get
just
a
big.
feel, yeah, yeah, they are, especially up front on offense. They're really big, well coached, obviously. Coach Dodge did a great job, and I know I believe they elevated their offensive court or their O line coach as their offensive coordinator.
Oh,
And then obviously on defense, they're Coach Munn that does a great job with them. So yeah, great challenge. You play these games to pay off in November and December. You're playing a nationally like nationally ranked football team on the road. Down in the Cotton Bowl, and just to have that opportunity to play somebody like that on the road. I'm sure we'll travel really well, but still, I bet you, since it's probably 20 minutes or something like that from their high school, they'll have a few more fans than us. So putting us in a hostile environment on the road to open the season, I think that's a great way to gain experience and kind of see where we're at. It's kind of a marker game. You want to win every game, but more than anything, hopefully the things you learn, the things that happen in games like this, are going to pay off in November and December.
this probably is a really, it's just a really smart move too for you guys to have college coaches all over Texas probably come to this game on a Friday night, some college scouts.
Yeah, I'm sure there'll be a few eyes down there in the Cotton Bowl watching that game, because a lot of talented players on both sides, obviously, and that's another reason why you do it. Exposure, and to get your kids exposed to as many eyes as possible that may offer them a scholarship, things like that. You never know, and be able to see them in person. Outside of the the recruiting period, actually get to see them warm up and play. In person. I know that's a big deal as far as from an evaluation standpoint.
What was the reaction like when you told the team? You said that they were excited just to hear about who they were playing, but since then, has there been just a lot of talk that like, hey, we're playing these guys that have has just as many state championships as we do?
Yeah, they all know who Southlake Carroll is. Caleb Dillard plays with one of their wide receivers on a 7-on-7 team. And so, yeah, there's been a little trash talking already going on between those two. But, our guys are excited. They're fired up. I told them, last year I probably don't schedule this game, to be honest with you. First year, first time head coach at Jenks, and a lot of offensive staff turnover, new starting quarterback, a lot of question marks, 8 new starters on defense. I'm not sure I scheduled this game, to be quite honest with you, last year. But I felt like this was a game where – with as many guys as we have coming back would be a positive thing and a great test for us early to kind of see where we're at. And with a lot of pieces coming back, staff in place, I thought it'd be a great challenge and something we would be up to.
How do you feel like this kind of sets like not a standard, but it opens like a door, right? Where you don't see a lot of Oklahoma, Texas matchups. Is this kind of opening up a door now for some other teams to look at that? Because there's a lot of the Arkansas, Oklahoma ones.
Yeah, it's in Northwest Arkansas. They play really good football, so it's natural. With Bentonville comes to our preview, and they're a power in Arkansas, and Fayetteville's played Broken Arrow, and some of the Owasso and some of the teams here in Tulsa. So I kind of hope so. I know it's a funding deal too. You got to what's the cost of driving down there and that stuff. And when we were at Broken Arrow, we went all the way out to Odessa Permian and played Mojo out there, and that was a cool experience. We played Mansfield Legacy my first year here down there. Played Mansfield Summit in 21, who was an excellent football team, went to the semifinals and beat them in overtime. And I thought that game really helped us win a state championship, and how talented they were and how we had to battle to win, I thought, helped us down the line. But back to your question, I certainly hope so. I think it's a really cool deal. Figure out a way to get, Bixby, Owasso, and Union, and playing DeSoto, Southlake, Lone Star, all those really good DFW area teams. But I think it's a cool deal. I'm all for being challenged in non-district play. I think obviously you're playing to win, but I think at the end of the day, you find out a lot about yourself in those first 3 games, as far as who you are, where you need to get better at, mix and match personnel, switching guys around. So I thought we're going to be mature enough, with all the guys we have coming back, to be able to handle a game like this. Where, like I said, with all the question marks last year, I'm not sure we would have been in that position. But yeah, it's Full deal. I mean, it's a lot of respect for the program, obviously down there. Coach Mund is an unbelievable football coach, and obviously Coach Dodge before him. And so, it's like, why not? If it's, give our kids a great experience, create excitement in our fan base. And, I don't think again, a lot of respect for those guys, but the Jenks Trojans aren't scared to go play, school in Texas. And that's no shot at them at all. It's just like, we've played in big ball games and we've won a few games around here, in the past 30 years. So, again, it'll be another chapter in the storied legacy of this place, and obviously, down there in their storied program as well. But we're excited about it.
You mentioned just like the restructure of things. Like, tell me about the rest of the schedule and what that looks like.
Yeah, it doesn't get any easier after Southlake, if you can imagine that. We've got Rogers, Arkansas at Rogers. Take the short trip over there. They were, I believe, a semifinal team last year, and then go over to Bixby for week 2. For the river rivalry, the smaller river rivalry with Coach Montgomery and those guys, and then our first 2. Well, we may add it because Enid is an independent team now, and so they're no longer competing as an OSSAA school. So we're kind of waiting to see how that pans out as far as if we're going to have another non-district game or what that looks like. But that's to be determined. So, but then gets our district play. If it stays the same, our first 2 district games are Union and Owasso. So in the first 5, we're gonna know, we're gonna know who we are real fast playing outstanding football teams. And then I don't know the order, but Edmond, Santa Fe, Moore, Yukon, and Deer Creek. Make sure I'm not missing one. More. Yep, that's it. That rounds out the districts as far as it is set right now.
It seems like you guys always have just those tough like first 4 weeks for Jenks in general. Have you ever been a part of, a restructuring, a schedule like this?
Not to this extent. And then you throw in, Enid going independent. It kind of, threw everybody for a loop because the other thing too is it was a home game. So we've already given up a home game to go play at Southlake, which is, administration was behind, and obviously, it was something that was fine for us. But losing a home game, it's revenue, so that's concerning. But that was probably the biggest, the biggest factor. Plus the I don't know, the teeter-totter or the up and down of playing, of trying to schedule non-district games. That was a difficult task for the Jenks Trojans, but once it got worked out, excited about how it turned out.
All right, we're excited. We're excited for you guys.
We are too. Trojans are fired up. Yeah, it'll be fun to travel down there and again, hostile territory, and our kids will probably be throwing the horns down, even though they're the Dragons. It has nothing to do with Longhorns, but knowing our guys, they'll probably do something like that. So yeah, very excited. And
giving out some tickets, right?
Hey, well, I'll do whatever we can. Yeah, we need more people in the stands. Absolutely. The more the merrier.
All right. Thank you, Coach Gaylor.
You bet, Raven. Take care.
Thank you for watching this Oklahoma's Own digital studio stream. Stay with News on 6 online and on television anytime for the latest news, weather, and sports.